Hello and welcome everyone to this March 11th edition of Keystroke Live. I'm Dave Hunsinger, and we'll be talking today about query function plus a few things in Keystroke that I just kind of like. So every Wednesday, same time, same place, 10 a.m. Don't have a huge crowd here today, so I'm not going to mute everyone unless it gets a little noisy. But query function is one of these simple, great things that Keystroke has that not every other software in the world has. You can access it by pressing F12 or Shift F3. Why two ways of getting at it? Well, if you're really old school, I think it was old XT keyboards only had F1 through F10. So we had Shift F3 for query as well as F12. Now, if I switch over to Keystroke here and Clerk in, so I can hit F12 right now and it pops up this little query. Should look familiar because it's just like the database manager, inventory, customer, vendor, clerk, and really it's exactly like being in the database manager. I can hit enter. I can go to a pocket coolie and hit enter and view the item. I can view any of the screens that I want to. I can hit escape to go backwards. If I press F3, now I'm editing the item. So I can, change this to just be Keystroke promo item. I can change, hey, let's charge $3 for this rather than $2.50, and it's exactly the same as changes I make in Keystroke. Where is this really handy? Well, I like using it if I go to the report manager. I can run sales, transactions, report. Let me make sure I had, if I do detail on detailed, and go ahead and run it from 1112, say. And so the report pops up, and if I go to the first page, I can say, hey, I want to know about this 1997 Chardonnay. I can hit F12, go inventory, hit F9 to get to description, type in 19, I guess we've changed it to 2007 Chardonnay, but I can look at this inventory item, look at my report, look at the inventory item, look at the report. So I instantly have that database information at my fingertips. So it's a very handy way to do that. The other thing I can say is, okay, well, now this is going to be, I can hit F3 to edit it and say, okay, we're going to change this to a 2014 Chardonnay. So as I'm looking at inventory items, as I'm running reports, I don't have to switch back to the database manager to update information. I can do it right there on the fly. I can, wherever I am in my query, I can go to Clerk and say, okay, Carol Cassidy, what was the last time she logged in? It was 9 a.m. on about a year ago. So you've got that information anywhere, anytime. You can hit F12 wherever you are in Keystroke, and it's just like being in the database manager. I can be, say, let me close this report. If I go into the purchase manager and say, hey, I wanted to, I didn't see an item here, I want to add it, I can just go ahead and hit F2 right here and add a fresh item. That's doing it right there. I could also be editing an older one and say, well, gosh, I need to add a red ballpoint pen. So I could just hit F12, and rather than having to go to Database Manager and do it, inventory, F2, and this is going to be a ballpoint pen red, and just add it right there. Same thing with customers. You're talking to somebody on the phone and you say, hey, let me get you in my database real quick. So wherever you are in Keystroke, you can hit F12, customer, and then I'm just hitting F2. Got that blank item. I can enter the customer right here. Oh, Randy, and it is Randy Spencer, and so now I've got him in my database ready to go. Very handy, very flexible. Seems so simple, but a lot of softwares are much more rigid on how you get database information in. So just wanted to be sure to bring it to people's attention, something you should know about because it's great for customers. I wanted to talk about a couple other things that I think I use every day, and just as I was doing this, and the first one is the quick date entry. Remember, you can always, let me switch back to Keystroke here, and I can hit Shift Enter to pull up a comment, and I can say available on, and I can hit Shift F6 here, and it plugs in the date. So remember, you can hit Shift F6 anywhere, anytime in Keystroke, it plugs in the date. The other thing that's handy about quick date entry is if I go to the report manager, and I'll just run that sales transaction report again. And if you have Keystroke Advanced, you get this change date to yesterday, today, last month, last year, this year. So rather than doing this year, I'm just going to cancel out of there, pull it up again. If I type in just 1 and hit enter, defaults to this month. If I do 1.1, defaults to first day, first month, year 15. If I want to go, say, to the end of February, I can do 299 because I can never remember, does February have 28 or 29 days this year, and it'll automatically figure out what day that is. So there's a lot of ways to enter it. I always use period just because it's easier to hit than slash the way I type, but you can use slash or period. You could also do 0101, and that's the same. It's taking just the 2 characters. I can also hit that Shift F6 here, and it dumps it in today's date. And if I said to 399, that would be it would default to this year. So a lot of interesting ways of doing that. I can also come up here and say -1Y, and it will subtract a year from that, or -1M. It'll take that date that's already in there and subtract the date. I could say, oh, well, I want to plus 15 days, and it'll add 15 days to that. So if you're looking to do certain periods, certain things, there's a lot of different things you can do to do that quick date entry. I was also going to talk about, there's just a couple other things. Oh, and there it generated my report. We don't need that. I'm going to go to the sales manager. And one is, remember, there are default macros that come with Keystroke. And one of them is Control-Shift F12 that turns off the toolbars. So wherever you are, you can hit Control-Shift F12 to turn on the toolbars and toggle between them. Oh, I hit it twice. Toggle between them being on and off. Control-Shift F12. Takes it away, and then that it's repeating there, put it back on. The other thing I like here in the Sales Manager is you see there is this detail box down here, and right now I'm getting the description and information. I can click here, and it will toggle between the customer's history for the item just the description and comment and that information. So you can click here and it will toggle between your different detail boxes. It's also very handy in the purchase manager because you might be wanting, oh, what's all my vendor information, what's my item information, and you can always get to that just by clicking here. Also remember in Keystroke we added that you can click here to go to complete sale. You can click back up here on the customer, just like hitting F8. So we added all that active clicking in here. Also with the customer, we have the history, which I don't know that I have a whole lot in here, which I don't since for the past year. But you can click that history to run that quick customer history report. Gives you that information, and it's different than hitting Shift F5, which is the history data that you calculate files for in the database manager so that you can go back and look at monthly or daily sales. But the Shift F12 or Control Shift F12, I can toggle the toolbars back on, so you can do that to toggle them in and on and off. There was the show history, and then also the click in the detail box field to rotate through all of those. So those are just a few things that I use in Keystroke quite a bit. Another thing I like with the query function, if I am in accounts receivable, here's just another place I use it. And let's find somebody who's got stuff on account. We'll take Barney. You know, you can come down to the invoice, you can hit F3, and you get a snapshot of that invoice, what he bought. So sometimes I see that, and then I'm like, gosh, I want to look up those inventory items. You can't get to them right there, but I can hit F12 right here, select inventory, and I can sort by description and look up my Budweiser beer 12-pack because I want to compare that. Oh, yeah, I have 4 on hand and blah, blah, blah. And then go back to my snapshot of the invoice here. That was hitting F3 on the line item in accounts receivable, pulls up that snapshot of the invoice, gives you some more detail. And then if you need to look at the inventory item or have a question about the customer, you can always do that F12 for a query. So that is some quick and useful information about the query function. Quick date entry, hitting Control Shift F12 to toggle things on and off. That is a macro. You can add other macros if you find there are key combinations you're hitting quite a bit, like Shift Enter for a comment. You could set up a button that would hit Shift Enter, or set up a button that would fire off a macro that does Shift Enter for you. If you're always typing in serial number is, you can actually have the macro type out serial number is for you, so that you just hit the macro key combination and it types that in for you. So a lot you can do with the query function, quick date entry, Control Shift F12. Just like I say, these are things I use a lot, so I wanted to pass along. Does anyone have any questions?
I didn't catch what you clicked on for the complete sale. Where was it you clicked on the screen for the complete sale?
Oh, if I switch back to Keystroke here.
You did it quick and I didn't catch it. There was somewhere you said you could click and it would do the complete.
Yeah, that's if you just click on the price down here. So I'll add a line item. But I can click on the price down here, like where it says $5.95, and it goes to the complete sale, and I've got it to automatically select payment. So it quickly gets me to entering the payment.
Okay, thank you.
And I've always been a keyboard guy, so you can also hit F10. You know, there's a variety of ways of doing it. Or if I select one of my payment buttons, it goes right there too. So like with Keystroke, there's a lot of different ways of doing things.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I go back to my PowerPoint. Any other questions, comments? Well, good. Well, thank you for attending Keystroke Live. Next week, Mike Tabor will talk about manufacturer coupons or scanned coupons and how you set that up in Keystroke to identify the coupon. It's pretty interesting. There's different codes for if it's buy one, get one free or 25 cents off, and how Keystroke handles all of that. So tune in, same login credentials, same time next week.